Bethany Joy Lenz recalls having a sex schedule when married to Christian cult leader's son. I had so much PTSD. I couldn't date a non-Christian and I couldn't really date anybody outside of the group. So it just became this sort of arranged situation, Lenz said. Bethany Joy Lenz is looking back on a dark time in her life. In a new episode of the Call Her Daddy podcast, Lenz, 43, opened up about her time in what she describes as a high-control group, and others have labeled the Big House family cult, and her marriage to the leader's son. She explained that she and her ex, who she called QB, started off with an easy relationship, but the two didn't have a lot in common. There wasn't a lot of intellectual stimulation, she told host Alex Cooper, but I had kinda run out of options. Like, I couldn't date a non-Christian, and I couldn't really date anybody outside of the group. So it just became this sort of arranged situation. It felt like this promise that I had been given as a good evangelical was a big crock. She continued, going on to say that she had a crazy sex drive that QB didn't fulfill. Like, what the heck? I thought if I save myself for marriage, then the promise is amazing sex and super deep intimacy, and nothing's ever as good. And then we have sex, and it's like, why do I feel so sad? I don't feel more connected to you. I feel farther away from you. And I don't think that necessarily had anything to do with saving myself for marriage. She continued, it was just that I married the wrong person. This issue led to her and her then-husband creating a sex schedule in an attempt to maintain intimacy in their marriage. The One Tree Hill alum claimed, because I was so disinterested in sex, I was then asked to go on a schedule, she alleged. Basically of like, you just have to do it. Just do it. This is your duty. This is your job as a wife. Your emotions will fall in line. If you do it enough, then eventually, you will find a way to enjoy it. It was a routine that I had to participate in order to keep the peace in my marriage, she added, revealing that she hated being intimate with QB. Lenz said he would leave town for work and return expecting sex, which made her even more unhappy in her situation. My stomach dropped every single time, she shared. In fact, it really affected my relationships afterwards with other boyfriends when I had to go pick them up from the airport. I had so much PTSD from showing up at the airport to see him knowing that I was gonna have to start this sex schedule for the next, like, 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever. Being part of a strict Christian group affected her life in more ways than one. The actress said her career was heavily impacted by the group not allowing her to take certain roles, even when she got auditions for huge studio movies.